for Black Futures Month 2022. My name is Daniel Sneed, and thank you all so very much. Appreciate the first hour going seamlessly and well, where we opened kind of a little bit of a invocation of what we're trying to accomplish here with Black Futures Month. Why are we celebrating the future and the fantastic and the Black lens of innovation? I think that we've had a great segue to also talk about the Black history in the future with Katie O'Toole Thomas and our collective there with the Schomburg Research Library of African American Culture, as well as Zaina. And I appreciate that. And again, just a great run of things to start. So let us refresh and reset as we go into the 11 o'clock hour and look at the continuation of Black excellence in the future. Now, a lot of times when we think of people that are building the future, I think we look at scientists, we look at a lot of different spaces and places that we think, who are the people that are innovating and who are going to make the changes making the changes today that impact tomorrow. So then we look at the end of the names for, where you graduated from, where did you learn and where did you teach? And a lot of times, and this next guest, I feel like it's just such an embodiment of such, is that innovation in the future is in the hands of the young. And that we've got so many young and talented people, particularly in our young Black community, that are absolutely building the future and really are going to be the stewards of change. So all the things that we talk about and innovate now, these are the people who are going to be living and thriving as our wildest dreams. So I'm very excited to bring this next guest to the stage, and let's go ahead and do that now. So I want to make sure as I get that I give, I'm actually going to give him the chance to introduce himself, because I love, when I met this gentleman, I loved hearing him talk, and to that, just want to make sure that we, again, I want to give you this treat for yourself. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Ian Michael Bronk to come to the stage here with us at Black Futures Month 2022.
Can you hear me, Mr. Bedrin?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ian, I hear you as well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Happy Saturday. How are you?
Man, sir, better than I deserve. No complaints, young man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I mean, first and foremost, happy Black History Month to everyone. It is an honor to be here. And I remember when we first connected, what was it, back in October during that event with Mr. Van Jones, the town hall meeting at that tech event. And it was when we had that conversation, we were having lunch and we just started talking about all things tech and the possibilities in the future. And I could tell that the things that you were working on was really authentic, and it was in line with some of the work that I do. So I guess a quick introduction for those who don't know who I am. I am a 17-year-old senior from Chicago, born and raised. And so I co-founded a nonprofit organization called Dream Hustle Code. And so we focus on bringing computer science education to kids who are underrepresented as well as underestimated in the tech space, as well as personal development. So we started this journey back in 2013, 2014. And so ever since then, we've done in-person work from Hour of Code events to summer coding camps. And during the pandemic, we even started virtual after-school computer science and personal development programming. And so I've been blessed to meet some amazing, extraordinary people. And I'm just grateful to be here on this event today with you.
Young sir, thank you so very much. And then the honor and pleasure is truly mine. I just want to give myself a little bit of light. So there you go. Absolutely. And I'm just excited to get a chance to introduce you to our community here at SUBSUME. So as you said, we had a chance to connect during another Black innovation program. And the things that you were saying really resonated. And I wish I had your insight and leverage to building communities around at your age. But let me ask, how did you get started? Because obviously the idea of Dream Hustle Code comes from the space of the NewNerd. And you told a fantastic story about what NewNerd meant to you and how you are using that to leverage your conversation. Could you share a little bit more about that?
All right. So I'll start with how we got started and then transition into how NewNerd came to be, because it all ties in together. So in 2013, it was all because of a video my mom found on Facebook that talked about, or that was titled "What Most Schools Don't Teach." And so it talked about the importance of computer science and how every kid should learn how to code. And so when I was watching that video, I saw people like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, but I couldn't really understand what they were talking about because, number one, I didn't know them. Number two, I thought they were boring. At that time, all I cared about was playing basketball, playing video games. I was only 8 years old in third grade. But what grabbed my attention was the fact that I saw two-time NBA champ and Hall of Famer, Mr. Chris Bosh, and he started talking about his experiences with learning the code and how he thought coding was cool. So hearing from somebody that not only looked like me, but also somebody I could relate to, somebody that played my favorite sport, that's what grabbed my attention. So this was in the beginning of 2013. And then we fast forward to December 2013. We ended up hosting an hour of code event at my elementary school. So basically just an intro to computer science, learning the basics or what have you. And we invited another school from the south side of Chicago to join us. We almost had Beyonce come to this event because she was in town for a concert because my dad knew her tour manager. But unfortunately, you know, times mixed up and it didn't happen. But regardless, we still had such an amazing event that a bunch of my friends and my peers' parents started reaching out to us asking, what is this coding thing? And why is my kid so excited about this? And that's when we realized, okay, a couple people hit us back saying, what are you going to do next? So we knew there was a lack of computer science being taught in the schools because I went to the #1 public elementary school in the city, or #1 ranked school in the city at that time, but they weren't teaching us coding. And we knew that there was a lack of computer science or a lack of representation of minorities and underrepresented people, black and brown people in the tech space. So ever since then, we hit the ground running, and then we started, you know, continuing that work since 2013. But what really, so NewNerd, so what that came to be, as I talked about in the beginning, my first dream was to go to the NBA. I wanted to be a basketball player. I still had good grades in school, right? I was getting good grades, and the only way I could play basketball is if I had good grades. So I wanted to be the next Michael Jordan, the next Derrick Rose. But what we found is that a lot of kids in our community, they don't believe that being smart is cool. And so a lot of kids are gifted, whether it be in math, science, or want to learn how to code, but they don't shine bright. They don't allow themselves to shine bright because they're worried about how other people view them. And so NewNerd is this idea telling kids, hey, you can learn how to code. You can be smart. You can be really interested in reading. You could love reading books, but you can also love to play sports, love listening to rap music, love listening or playing video games. It's the culmination of the best of both worlds. Because we have this negative connotation when it comes to the nerd. When you think of a nerd, oh, somebody that's really smart in the books all the time, big bulky glasses, but has no social skills. But we want to show kids in our community, hey, it's cool to be smart. You can be yourself while also having that other side with fashion, sports, the culture. It's just the best of both worlds. That's all it is.
And that's everything. And it's just a brilliant insight for yourself and your family to have that to start things off. Now, the idea of computer science, do you feel like there's a point of accessibility, say, for your school? Because, again, you took the initiative and you built something that obviously was able to build. You were able to build something on from there. For computers and computer science, is there a lack of accessibility in the neighborhoods as far as what you've seen in your local community?
Absolutely. I think it's more than just, oh, I know. So because before, back when we first started, it was a lack of knowing that you should learn how to code, right? People just didn't have the information or the awareness or somebody telling them in their ear or the exposure to that. But now it's the fact that we may not have the resources or the tools or the mentors who will be able to guide a child from step one all the way to getting a successful or being pipelined into a job opportunity or going to college or university, right? And so it's really that kids, once they hear about it, they understand that they should learn it. And many of them actually want to. But it's the fact that they don't have access to the resources. And many of them don't even see people that look like them in the tech space, right? In sports and music, we see so many examples of people who look like this. Basketball, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose, so many examples. In the music industry, we have so many different people who are artists who look like us. But in tech, that's not necessarily the case. Now, there are plenty of people who are in the space, but they're just not getting the recognition. And there are other kids who can look up to them and say, hey, I can see myself having a successful career in the tech space. So it's a combination of the lack of resources or lack of resources and the ability to have a mentor to take them along the journey and a lack of seeing somebody who looks like them. Our motto at Dream Hustle Code is, if you can see it, you can be it. And so I think it's really those two things that are kind of lacking when it comes to our community and people that we are trying to serve.
Again, well said. And I think you're absolutely right. There's a point of example in why we wanted to host things like the program that we met at, but also here with Black Futures Month. That, as you say, we're here in this space, but a lot of times we don't have a consolidated sense of recognition, or we're able to constantly and consistently, have those conversations about tech. Now, so now, right now, for the kind of focus on Dream Hustle Code Bar for a moment, what is the reach for you and your community? Now, are you mainly based out of Chicago that you're working with your program, or do you look to have a more of a national or global approach to how you're trying to connect?
Right. So when we first started, obviously, all of our work was in person. So we started with doing in-person events at schools, churches, community centers in Chicago, but also in Wisconsin. And so in 2019, we actually raised enough funds because we had this idea that we wanted to take a group of high school students to Silicon Valley so that they could see what it was like to work at a tech office again, or a tech company. See it, be it. You need to be able to envision yourself as being a part of the tech industry before you even get there. But during the pandemic, we realized that it wouldn't be sustainable, obviously, to have a bunch of these events in person because we had to stay at home. So that really opened our eyes, and we've been doing work virtually. We've been able to do our computer science and personal development after school program. We've been able to touch kids from 25 plus states across the US. We even hosted this event called Teen Tech Live, which is basically an event that brings entertainment, education, and technology and video games together. Think about it like this: CES, BET Awards, and a massive gaming tournament all in one, right? You bring the best of this. We like to call it edutainment, right? Because a lot of kids, when you're trying to give them all this knowledge, they just ignore it. But if you bring it to them in an entertaining way, a way they can relate to, that's when it starts to resonate with them. So with Teen Tech Live, we hosted our first event during Black History Month last year, where we had over 7,000 students. And then we hosted Teen Tech Live 2.0 during National Computer Science Education Week last December, where we had just north of 15,000 students. So we had speakers from Microsoft, Amazon, McDonald's, FaZe Clan, as well as Kyrie Irving come on board to speak with the kids as well. So it was an overall great event. But to go back to your question, we've done work. At first, it started with just in the city. Once we took it virtually, we were able to touch kids from not only across the nation, but around the globe.
That's, again, just I feel like I just need a button that just says well done. So every time I talk to you, it's not even you have a great idea. It's like you've already done it. You're just ahead of the curve, and I appreciate that. Now we think about the idea of the future. Just a general question: what's your outlook for the future?
Outlook for the future. So is this that could be taken in two different ways,
right? I mean, big connotation. So I will say let's think broad of just, obviously you're a young person. We're here in the pandemic. Right. Just yet, I'm sure you have another educational platform and future things from there. What do you think about when you think about your future? I guess, just in that sense, let's take it from there.
My future. Well, I know with my future, because that could be tomorrow, that could be in 10 years. But with my future, I more so want to continue the mission of helping others, but also showing them that, hey, the possibilities are out there, not only in tech, computer science, but also in other aspects of your life. And again, I've always been a non-selfish person of helping others. So I envision myself helping others in the technology space by really exposing them to the possibilities, guiding them through the steps along their journeys, giving them the tools and skills necessary to succeed, and then giving them mentors. One of the things that's been with me my whole entire life is personal development. Some people call it mindset development, because you can have all the skills and talent in the world, but if your mind isn't right, when you face adversity, when you go through that first challenge or obstacle, most people will give up and quit if they don't have their minds right. So I think that's definitely a huge part of it. But I see a lot of work needing to be done in order to achieve that future where everyone is able to go after their goals and be successful in them. But I'm willing to do that work. And I know if not only just myself, I can't do this alone. It's physically impossible. But if we are able to all go after our goals and dreams, connect with each other, come together and work together to achieve and help each other achieve each other's dreams, I believe for a fact that not only will my future be good, but everyone's future they'll be successful in.
Now, to make that point of success, is there any part of technology, or at least the things that are out right now, that's really exciting you? That could be for computer science. Obviously, we have a lot of new things between cryptocurrency and NFTs and space of the metaverse. So again, when we're talking about computer science and of course just the coding part, coding is the future. So is there any of this future technology or future conversations that really interest you?
Yeah, I want to touch back on that point you said. Coding is the future. Coding is really the now, right? Because it touches computer science. Coding touches everything that we do. Somebody had to code this website in order for us to be here today. Everything that we use, from the clothes that we wear, technology that we use, is touched by programming and technology. But one thing that I will say that definitely has caught my attention, and I've done a lot of research in, is, I don't want to say, because you said metaverse, cryptocurrency, NFTs. I'll just talk about the whole world, Web 3, right? Web 3.0 is really just the idea of basing everything off the internet on the blockchain. And so right now, everything that's created, from social media to even the banking systems, is all controlled by one party. You see YouTube, they have control over all those content creators. Amazon has control over Twitch and all those live streamers. Even Facebook has control of content creators and social media influencers, right? But it's all controlled by one company in one place. But with Web 3.0, through the blockchain, everyone has control over their own destiny, has own control over their own content and how much money they can make. Now, there's pros with cons with that. Now that you have more control over yourself, there's also the risk that, hey, you are responsible for everything that goes into your brand, and there's no one else to look forward to if you need help or need any resources. But I believe that is a key element in our futures. And like NFTs, I've been dabbling into trying to buy some and invest in that. And I think those things will, not only cryptocurrency, NFTs, and the metaverse, that is really the future that we're looking forward to. Because like some people, I heard somebody say this. They said that the wealthy people, there are either two types of worlds we're going to live in: the virtual world, like the metaverse, or Elon Musk is going to find another planet where everyone else can live on, right? The odds are looking like we're going to be in the metaverse in the short term because it's easy to access and it's already here. But I definitely say that's something that we all should look forward to. Do your own research on, right? Understand what metaverse is, what cryptocurrency is, what the blockchain is, how it works, how you can make money from it, and also how you could build your own brand off of things like NFTs. I definitely highly suggest everyone get into that because it's something that I'm doing on my own.
Now, how do you see NewNerd Dream Hustle Code as a long-term endeavor, right? So obviously you've already done some fantastic work, and I know we just talked about your point there. That's just the way for your not-for-profit. Do you feel like there's a template for this to be able to really be implemented in the way that you've been able to do successfully so far? Yeah,
I definitely see this growing huge, right? Because I'm an ambitious person, but what I kind of want this to not just be something that, oh, we inspire somebody, they go do it on their own. The long-term plan is to not only inspire people through NewNerd and through Teen Tech Live, but also take those who really want to go after that as a career, technology, computer science, even gaming, give them the skills, like as I mentioned earlier, teach them, nurture them, and also pipeline them into job opportunities. Because many people, they know they want to do something, but they don't know where to start. They don't know where to go. And once they get the skills there, they have to figure out, okay, how do I go get a job, or how do I use the skill and turn it into a career so I can make money? Because that's at the end of the day what everyone wants to do with their skills and talents, is to make a difference, but also make money so that we can survive and live a good life. But eventually I see Dream Hustle Code as something that really allows people to use this platform to not only better themselves, but feel more comfortable in themselves. Because that's one thing a lot of people, and especially in my generation, are dealing with. They're dealing with the fact that, oh, I don't know if I should do this because I'm worried about how someone else will view me based off the decisions I make. And I think that's one thing we have to get past, that mindset or that fear of worrying about how other people are viewing us. But go back to your question, NewNerd and Dream Hustle Code. I believe we will be able to touch millions through the work that we're doing, but also partner with others in order to do so. Because again, we can't do it alone, virtually impossible. But yeah, I think that's the direction that we're going to get started in. And not only just start with any kid, it's going to start from kids in middle school, 6th grade, all the way to the end of high school.
Oh, fantastic. Now, to make this stream happen, what are some of the things that you feel like you need? And maybe that's something. Let me rephrase that a little bit better, because I think there's a great generational conversation here. Is that for yourself being under 18, a lot of times, and they don't let me also say that. What are the things that young people like yourself need to succeed? Like, I know that it's a generational thing. Sometimes it could be access, it could be capital, it could be some other parts. For the things that when you are touching these tens of thousands of kids that are trying to get into coding, what are some of the barriers that you're seeing that maybe other generations should be able to help and support you and help you all support in getting past those and being the folks y'all want to be?
Well, obviously capital. I mean, I think that's everyone's thing that everyone needs access to, because you can't do work if you don't have some sort of funding. But another thing that has been a little bit of an issue is getting access to the audience, right? We have this great work, and a bunch of people have a lot of great initiatives that I'm working on. This isn't just specifically towards me. I think a lot of people can agree with this. But it's more so getting access to the audience so that we can show people, spread the awareness, and also help more lives, because there are those gatekeepers out there that are like, I'm not sure if I should allow them or this person or this initiative to get access to this group of people, our group, middle school and high school kids. But it's like, we know this is something that is important for them. And we know this is something that will change their lives, some more drastically than others. But the real difficulty is sometimes getting that access to the audience and getting in front of them. Once we get in front of them, there's no problems. We can get their attention. We'll get the ones that will stick with us, and some of them might fall off. It happens. But it's really getting through that first door and that first barrier of, hey, let me get in front of the people so I can speak to them, change their lives. That's really a big issue. So I guess connections, getting access to the audience, as well as funding and capital. Those are definitely some of the bigger ones that we've had to face, and I'm sure others had to as well.
Now you have all of the future ahead of yourself, and I'm very inspired by the words that only you said here, but obviously the action of yourself and your team at Dream Hustle Code, and it's been fantastic to follow that journey. Just kind of as a close and sum, looking at the Black future, not only just technology and all these spaces. Another big generous question, but if you're trying to talk to the generations to come, right? What are the things that you've learned so far that you feel like could be a value add, or what would you say to that next generation that you've already learned so far?
That's an interesting question, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I've learned as of recently too. Well, let me ask you this. What was something that you would say to my generation, or even kids that's younger than me? Like, what would be the first thing that comes to mind for you?
That's a great question there. Good, sir. So touche. I would say to younger generation, absolutely, is that you have to try, right? It is the idea of that time is your most valuable asset, right? It's the thing that you simply cannot get back, no matter how much money. The other part, the first thing is time, and the second thing is health. Utilizing and maximizing both of those assets that everybody gets, and not equally, is how you make generational maneuvers, right? Whether that's wealth, whether that's education, whether that's civics engagement. So I think I would tell the young, you have to try with all the time and all the effort that you have right now. Obviously, for the things that could be creative, technology, or community, that's kind of in our purview. I would tell them there is no tomorrow, but I think that part is, being that new nerd today. Don't wait to be a new nerd tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, and that, I think that would be my part. Those are two fantastic assets, like you said. And we're talking about things you don't have access to. Right. You do have access to those. Utilize those to your best of your ability.
Absolutely. You hit that right on the nail, because with the time piece and also the health, I speak on that all the time, right? The importance of your time. You mentioned how it's the only thing you can't get back, no matter how much money you have. But another thing to further go deeper when it comes to the importance of your time, it's more so about choices. Let's talk about choices, right?
Right.
Every single day you have the opportunity to make the choice whether you will be able to improve your life, or whether you will stay in the same position you are now, or even be far off or less off, right? And so you have to make the choice to decide what to improve yourself. It all comes down to choices. The successful people that you see in your life, they made the decision to take certain steps to better themselves. The people who aren't successful right now and aren't in the places that they want to be, it came down to choices. Now, some of it comes to, you know, unforeseen circumstances, of course, but the majority of the time it comes down to choices. So make the decision today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because again, tomorrow isn't promised, right? Like you said earlier, there is no tomorrow. So make the decision today to better yourselves. I remember there was a time in my life where I pushed off so many different things, right? I'm not perfect. People think that, oh, he's just this most disciplined, hardworking individual. That's not the case all the time. But like, I would push things off and say, oh, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh, I'll do this next week. Next thing you know, tomorrow turns to 2 weeks. 2 weeks turns to 2 months. 2 months turns into 2 years, right? You look back, you just wasted a whole 2 years of your life. And so make the decision today. Don't wait for it. Go after whatever it is you want to go after. Make a plan for it and attack it today. Because my dad always asks this. He says, what will your 22-year-old self thank you for the decisions that you made today? And if you think about it from that perspective, is the decision I'm making today am I going to be thankful that I did that in 5 years? If you look at it from that perspective, you'll be fine in anything that you do. So I think, again, time management, take care of your time, learn how to manage it, your health, and then as well as make the decision today, make the choices today, you'll be good to go.
Man, and I had the chance, obviously, to meet your parents, and again, I think I need to take your father's course and get a brush up myself, because that's just so eloquently put that I don't have anything else to ask but to say, how can we support you and the New Nerd movement as well as Dream Hustle Code?
Well, yes. So obviously you can connect with us, Dream Hustle Code, on all social medias. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Dream Hustle Code. You can also tune into our website, dreamhustlecode.com. That's a great way to get connected with us. And on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn, Ian Michael Brock. That's actually how we connected. We were able to stay in touch on LinkedIn. So yeah, make sure that you stay in touch with us there. And for all of those who are looking to donate or support us funding or giving any other resources or connections, you can check us out. Send an email to us at info@dreamhustlecode.com, and we'll be able to connect there. But yeah, follow us everywhere. We could always look for funding resources to work on those things for our different upcoming events. We have Teen Tech Live 3.0 this December. I'm also working we're working on our in-person version of Teen Tech Live in 2023. And I'm also working on a book tour for this, an HBCU book tour during this fall. We're trying to do a book tour, giving kids, especially freshmen, the importance of time management and planning themselves and scheduling their lives. Because that's the key. A lot of kids, they go from high school where they got parents at home and they also have teachers, to going to college where they have so much freedom. It's like most of them don't even know how to manage it. So teaching the kids some of the things that I've learned. And also we have our summer program as well during summer 2022, computer science and personal development one. That was a lot of information, but just make sure to tap in with us on Dream Hustle Code on our social medias.
Young sir, again, just flawless execution as well as representation. So, you know, it just keeps getting better, and you're making me look extremely lazy based on some of the things I have on my docket. So you're already in 2023 plus, and I'm just trying to get through the show this weekend. So you're good. I know obviously we'll talk and we'll stay connected, and I know we've got, you know, a shared future together. And I just wanted to give everybody, particularly our Black Futures audience, just a glimpse of really the hope of tomorrow. So I really thank you for coming and helping us kicking this off and showing us just how well taken care of the future is about to be. And so I'm excited for you, just personally and professionally. And again, look forward to the next big move, young man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. It's always an honor and pleasure to have a conversation with you. And I'm looking forward to some of the things that you, as well as this entire brand, has with their futures as well. Yeah.
Oh, sir, it is a shared future. We'll be in touch. So for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. And thank you so very much. And that was Ian Michael Brock of Dream Hustle Code, the New Nerd and the new revolution of Generation Code. And he said it so well, I'm gonna have to keep it, that the generation of coding is not the future of tomorrow, but of today. So I think we do need to think of the now, even as we celebrate Black History Month, and try to look ahead to Black futures, understanding that our space in the present, and to be present with our time and talents, that we are making the positive decisions and that we are using the best of ourselves to make a brighter and shared tomorrow is absolutely paramount. So again, I had a chance to meet this young man, and it would be selfish of me to keep a talent like that just to myself. So was just so blown away by not only his authenticity, but also in intelligence, but also the capacity to give for him and his parents, and for his support staff to build and continue to grow and develop a space and a place that does have inclusion and technology and community was a natural point of appreciation for us at SUBSUME, and just so very thankful for him giving some of his time to share with us there today. So let us continue forward because we are running right along. And so right here at top of the hour at noon, we're going to have a playback from Mr. Jay Francis, who is the Vice President of Diversity and Current Series at Disney for TV animation. I want to make sure that we give some extra time and opportunity for that. Likewise, we want to make sure that everyone stays included in the programming that's going to go on all weekend long. So starting from this past Friday on throughout today, and an extra jam-packed tomorrow, as we've got everything again from comics and VR to augmented reality and computer science, and just all the things that we need to make a shared and a prosperous tomorrow for all. So with that, we know we have a current schedule for Black history and comics, and we're going to take a look at our timing to see if we can keep that. Otherwise, respective of wanting to make sure we gave all of our time we could to our current guest, we may either look to broadcast that or host that, or wait for our high noon broadcast. So again, we'll go ahead and take a quick break as we look to bring that programming next to you. So make sure to stay tuned and stay included with us here at SUBSUME at Black Futures Month 2022. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back. And thank you so very much for continuing to join us here with Black Futures Month 2022 here with SUBSUME. Again, my name is Daniel Sneed, and I'm so thankful for each of you that has taken the time to join in with us in this look towards our shared future together, looking at the innovators of today who are going to shape the creative, technical, and community endeavors of tomorrow. And so we are very excited for what we have coming up, which already to thank Mr. Ian Michael Brock with Dream Hustle Code, and NewNerd, who was just a fantastic conversation and shows us that the future is well in hand, as well as a conversation with the Cuber School from Friday and our team with the Schomburg in regards to Black history for the future. So we've already had some fine points to kick things off, and to be able to keep the train and the party going, we're going to get ready for a conversation here with Mr. Jay Francis, again, who is the Vice President of Current Series and Diversity for Disney Animation Television. And so having just a quick blur before I go ahead and cut back to that is, we're always talking about how we need to be represented, not only in the spaces that we want to be, but in the mediums that we want to be. So thinking of SUBSUME, where we are a transmedia platform, as well as a creative and technology studio, we get a chance to connect with a lot of folks. And there is nothing really quite like animation, I think, because it is labor intensive, because I think there's been a maturity in this space where now the idea of adult animation has been more centralized and more accepted into just traditional culture, particularly American or popular culture, for sure. So before, where cartoons used to be just things that were in between live shows or they were just for kids, now animation is big business. And we found that animation, particularly in the pandemic, is very pandemic resistant. While nothing is pandemic proof, the ability to create narratives and tell stories in animation seems to be pioneering on. And that's why we're seeing so much more animation than we've ever had before. But with that, we're not seeing as much representation that would be consummate to this rise in the genre. So with that, in the medium, excuse me. So that's why we really wanted to focus on bringing in places of transmedia, whether that's animation, which would be our next conversation, whether it's virtual or augmented realities. These are the spaces where SUBSUME needs to reside and where we will be. And so these conversations are a great precursor to some new conversations to come. So I'm very honored and privileged to go ahead and bring Mr. J. Francis on. So we're going to go ahead and a quick reset for a little station identification with us here at SUBSUME. So for everyone at home, we want to make sure for those that may not have their tickets, if you go to subsumesummit.com, again, that is subsumesummit.com. We just, even though the event is free, and of course for everyone to enjoy our conversations and our content here, we want to make sure that we're able to keep you up to date, as well as have some fantastic giveaways that we'll have at the end of each broadcasting day. And we also just want to make sure that you stay included in our great works to come. So thank you so very much. Appreciate your time and consideration. Stay tuned for J. Francis with Disney, and we'll be right back.